Hello fellow humans and welcome to this video where I'm finally going to talk about Tank Company because there's been a lot of comments and requests to talk about it. And first of all, I have to say that I will not be playing that game. I am a PC player, I play on PC, I only play PC games like Blitz. Blitz is a multi-platform game, not a mobile game, therefore I'm going to play it. Now, emulators do exist, I know about BlueStacks and all that, however, I'm going to not use that. Which means if Tank Company ever comes to PC, I might try to actually play it. However, for now, I will not be covering it on this channel, and I will also not be playing it. And now, let's talk about why you shouldn't really care either. Now, let's have a look here at the Tank Company website. I hope it's the correct one. Now, it is both available in English and Russian, which strongly suggests to me that they want to break into the market of World of Tanks PC and World of Tanks Blitz, which is mainly still Russia. There was a lot of EU and Asia as well. However, the main market is still Russia. So that is obviously apparent now. VK is also a Russian Facebook clone, essentially. Not that cloning Facebook is a great idea, just like how cloning World Tanks PC is an absolutely horrible idea. There are a couple of things that I want to look at with these dev sessions, which I do appreciate. That's very nice that we have these, that there are these Q&A posts. They're not very up-to-date, unfortunately, as you can see. However, one of them is going to be very interesting. Now, what you have in this game, you only have 108 vehicles, and you only have 3 nations. That is USA, Germany, and USSR. Mind you, World of Tanks PC and World of Tanks Blitz started off the same way with the same number of vehicles as well. Another difference is there is only tier 8 vehicles available with the M48 pattern, which might hint that later there will be higher tier vehicles that are going to go into the MBT range, like a T-72, like a, obviously, XM1, or even Abrams. So, you have a couple of vehicles that are not present in World of Tanks PC and World of Tanks Blitz. However, some of them are simply changed in name. You have in the German tech tray, you have this E100 mouse hybrid, which is, I think, the actual design of the mouse, how it's supposed to be. Write it in the comments. You also have the, Panzer E100 right here, and the weirdly SP70 that is also, to my knowledge, not in World of Tanks PC, and the T62M instead of the T62A. So there are a couple of differences. There are a couple of vehicles that are not in the game, and you only go to tier 8, which is already an interesting concept. Maybe they'll eventually expand and make tier 10 with MBTs, but for now, that is not too bad. And you essentially have the same starting vehicles: IS-7, IS-4, 62A, Object 268. There is nothing really exciting and nothing really amazingly new here. You have an E100 with a mouse turret, so there's nothing outstanding there. Leopard, all the kind of things. It essentially, there isn't nothing new about this game, nothing revolutionary, because obviously you can't just make up tanks. Wargaming does it anyway. However, there is nothing essentially that you're going to find new in the form of the vehicles. Now, you have a 15 versus 15 matchmaking, which is bad. 15 versus 15 matchmaking is very, very bad. Because the more players you have, and if you're on a very small screen, that is just not very, very good at all. And as you can see, they're also working on new tanks, as it seems right here, and new maps as well, which I don't know about that. This looks very interesting. Tank Biathlon. If they introduce something like that, this could be something that is definitely worth checking out. Special modes with something that Wargaming doesn't do anymore in World of Tanks Blitz. And you also have the rating kind of a bit ripped off. But then again, it is NetEase, which we'll go into a bit later as well. Don't worry, we'll cover everything here. So essentially, this is the tank racing from World of Tanks PC. Basically, this is a mobile version of World of Tanks PC made by a massive Chinese corporation. That's what we have here. But I'm sure there is a smaller development team somewhere sitting below it in a basement somewhere. So essentially what we have here is we have a World of Tanks PC clone now. 15 versus 15 is very bad, as I already said. Why is that? Well, because the more plays you have, the more errors, the more pain you introduce. And especially, what does this look like, Malinovka? Some interesting tanks. Here, we got artillery, unfortunately, which is also another reason why we'll not be touching this game at all, ever. Forget it. There is one all the way at the bottom that is going to indicate that they might do Steam and the Microsoft Store. There you go. Let's put it to Microsoft or Steam. We would need time to develop it for those platforms. So let's see whether that is actually going to happen. Obviously, NetEase has the money for it. They're running Minecraft in China after all. They're swimming in cash, so they would have the money for it. And yeah, so there is that. Now, another very interesting thing that is right here. Tobias Style for the Hangar Garage, there is no plans to develop that now. So this, for now, is also very important. And we'll talk about NetEase later. We're gotta get into that, right? Now, there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. You can check it out. The website yourself, you probably already have anyway. You have replays. Essentially, it is like World of Tanks PC on mobile. You have ranked, you have regular mode. You have no missiles, though, so look, Wargaming, no one wants missiles. And now, obviously, you have tournaments as well. You have regular mode, you have tank racing, you have ranked, and you have tournaments. Nothing surprising there. And you also have content creators reward programs, so if you remove Artie, I'm on board. Otherwise, no thank you. And now let's get into a bit about what's behind Tank Company, because obviously behind World of Tanks Blitz, you have Wargaming, which are relatively interested in the history of tanks and all that, given that they actually employ historians to look through archives and stuff like that to find new tanks and all these kind of things. Now, what we have here is NetEase, which is a massive Chinese company which also runs Minecraft in China. Now, what they have done there is intentionally turned it to free-to-play and sells various in-game items, which means crates, premium tanks. That is not going to be something that is going to be absent from Tank Company. However, if you go to NetEase's website, what is absent is Tank Company. In this case, they have not done anything in terms of tanks before. It's a massive company. They're doing all sorts of things. All these games, have you ever heard of them? Maybe Diablo. Other than that, I have never heard of any of these games. That doesn't sound very promising in that sense. Let's get back into Blitz. Now, what is the thing that you hate most about Blitz? A lot of you are either going to say one or two things. The first one is going to be crates. The second one is going to be the teams. Now, the teams, as you've already seen, is not going to be any better because of 15 versus 15. You have less tanks, you have bigger teams, which means you have a better chance at having a bad team. There are massive chances of having 15-3 wipeouts, like in World of Tanks PC, because you're playing on a very, very tiny screen on a massive strategy game that even in World of Tanks PC is quite challenging to keep track of everything. Then you're also most likely going to have longer waiting times and less match variety, obviously because of the bigger matches, which means there might be some bots going on as well. Now, that plays for Tank Company. If they can program good bots, then that means that the gameplay experience will be a lot better. Now, I'm not saying that Blitz is a great game, because playing Blitz is like shaving your balls. Only a maniac would enjoy it. So, anyway, it's like Blitz is fine-ish the way it is. The tanks are somewhat balanced. Obviously, Wargaming's business strategy in some cases is very much questionable, and in some cases outright stupid. But the thing is, you can't just plonk any game on there and be like, yay, this is better, this is going to be the next thing. Now, the same thing happened with CSGO and Valorant. Now, comparing CSGO to Blitz is a bit odd because CSGO is CSGO is also a very, very old game. It's going to be 10 years old soon, and Blitz is 8 years old, so it's very fair comparison. And with CSGO and Valorant, and there was a lot of people saying, oh, Valorant's going to destroy Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's going to die. They're going to force Valve to change that. Now, Valve is a completely different company, completely different structure to Wargaming, given that, well, any company is profit-orientated, so the business model of Tank Company and World Tanks Blitz is going to be the same. Offer the game for free, try and squeeze out as much money out of the player as possible. That's how companies work. So, essentially, you have a worse matchmaking experience because you have, well, massively bigger teams on a tiny, tiny screen. If Tank Company, I don't know about that, but if they do weighed matchmaking, as in if one side has a bad player, the other side has to have an equally skilled player, you know, you weigh it off, you get something like that, that could definitely work in its favor. However, so far, there isn't really anything that is going to suggest that Tank Company is going to do better or even harm World of Tanks Blitz. So, without hope or disappointment, that's what we do here, essentially. This channel is about disappointing kids these days, which I very much enjoy. So hope you enjoyed as well. So thank you very much for watching, and see you for the next one. Goodbye.